God, the light is bright there. Personally, what a game, honestly. If we'd beaten Arsenal, that would have been probably the biggest result of the season. Probably bigger than Man United, because Arsenal this season have been better than Man United. But nevertheless, very good point, and certainly a result I would have took before the game. Sorry, my face is a bit red there. I'm knackered. I was not screaming my head off. I wasn't actually screaming my head off that much at the game, which for me is quite calm. But thought we thoroughly deserved the point, and what more can I say? Arsenal just didn't look much. Really didn't look very much. I thought it was important for Sunderland to get through the first half hour or so, or certainly to stay in the game and to actually make sure that they didn't give themselves an absolute mountain to climb, which sadly we've seen in the past. But like I said, I was saying before the game, because Arsenal played on Thursday night, I felt that if they weren't winning by, say, the 65th, 70th minute, they would start to feel a bit of fatigue in the game. And it looks like that was proven correct, because although Arsenal had a lot of the ball, which we all expected, if you give me a minute, I'll actually look at the stats and see how much of the ball they had. But it just goes to show, though, that possession means diddly squat if you don't do anything with it. So, let's look at the stats here. Blah, 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 blah. God, it takes a long time to get down here. Anyway, but the point is, stats don't mean anything. There you go. It had 70% of the possession, but that means diddly squat if you don't do anything with it. And I felt that the second half, more so than anything else, was Arsenal's passing being slow, lethargic, a little tiring maybe, because, and to be fair, I think a large part of that is down to the fact that Sunderland didn't allow them much space, for once. I'm amazed we kept 2 clean sheets in a row. Ridiculous. Certainly something that would have been mission impossible for Sunderland to keep one, let alone back-to-back. But, that could potentially be a very, very good point. Now, I said before the game, I would take a point, because it would take us out of the bottom 3, above Newcastle, by a point, with a game in hand. But again, it means nothing if we don't take anything from it. And we're above Norwich on goal difference. Now, personally, I would rather hope that we don't have to rely on goal difference to keep us in the league if we do stop up. But if the goal difference is if the goal difference keeps us up, providing it doesn't have a massive swing in against us, then fine. I'll take staying up on goal difference at this point. And I was just watching the highlights not long ago of Newcastle's draw with Liverpool, which I'll give them credit for, to be fair. That's a very good comeback, and I said it on Twitter, actually. Very good comeback. Coming back from 2-0 down at Anfield is no easy feat, so well done to us for that, but I still hope he's get relegated with Norwich, because I just want us to stay up more than anything else. But looking at the next couple of games, if you tell you what, if you give me a minute, I'll get the running up now. Hang on. Premier League results, or Premier League fixtures, rather. That would help if I get it correctly. Right, so next week, Newcastle have Palace at home. Obviously, we go to Stoke and Norwich go to Arsenal. You would imagine that Norwich would lose at Arsenal. So if that happens, fair play. Palace, I would imagine, Pardew will want to go to St James's and get a result. But with Newcastle with the momentum and being at home as well, which actually they've only lost once at St James's since the turn of the year, if I remember correctly, I think Newcastle will win that game. But I'm just praying. Palace. There it is again. Palace to go there and get a result. As for Sunderland at Stoke, you look at it and say, well, if we keep a clean sheet against Stoke, which we're not going to keep, we can't keep 3 clean sheets in a row. It's ridiculous. But if we did somehow keep a clean sheet, then I could back us to probably win that game, because Stoke haven't got Jack Butland or Shea Given in goal or anything. So I don't know who their goalkeeper is. I should have done a bit of research, to be honest. But, nevertheless, pepper their goal, take shots. Yeah, say more. You look at the weekend after that. Norwich have Manchester United. Now, us taking a point off Arsenal is a good thing, because we've opened up the title race. We've opened up the top 4 race, rather, for Manchester United. And if they can go to Norwich needing to win to get into the top 4, that could be an advantage for Sunderland. It could be an advantage for Newcastle, we don't know. But it could be an advantage for either of us if Man United go to beat Norwich. So I would imagine Norwich might just lose that game. But if I'm being totally honest, I would not be surprised whatsoever if Norwich were to beat Manchester United or get a draw, because the way this season's gone. Norwich earlier in the season took 4 points off Arsenal and Man United, so that can't be forgotten. Newcastle go to Villa. Now, this is a game Newcastle should win any day of the week. Newcastle should beat Aston Villa. However, with it being at Villa Park, I wouldn't be surprised if Villa did get something out of this, and I'm hoping my ideal scenario is for Villa to beat Newcastle and take Newcastle mathematically down with them, but I don't see that happening, sadly. And Sunderland against Chelsea, for me, out of the last 4 games, this is the most difficult. They're all relatively difficult to a degree, but this one, I think, is the one I still think we'll be lucky to get anything out of. Chelsea's season's petering out, but, they thrashed Bournemouth the other day. But having said that, we need to get the points, and we're at home, so you never know. And then comes the crucial point for Norwich and Sunderland. Both of their games in hand on Newcastle. So, Norwich play Watford. For me, this is a game I think Norwich will win, simply because I don't think Watford's a fantastic side, being truth be told, and Norwich will need to win this fixture to try and stay up. Watford's season's virtually over. And Sunderland against Everton. Now, if Everton do have Martinez, by the time that we play them, obviously if they don't have Martinez, then this is irrelevant what I'm about to say anyway, but we could take advantage of being at home again, but we'll have to wait and see. And then the last day, Sunderland I think have the easiest of the 3 fixtures, but again there's no such thing as easy fixtures in this division, especially in the position where all 3 clubs are in. If the title race is already decided, I could see Newcastle maybe getting a point against Spurs. Norwich, I think, might get a point against Everton if Martinez is still there. And I think Sunderland should be able to go to Watford and beaten them. I still insist they're a team I personally think we should be beaten, but I say that all the time and it never happens. But as for today's game, I think for Arsenal, Arsenal fans, where do you go from here? Because I was standing outside the Stadium of Light watching Arsenal Fan TV, filming a couple of interviews, although because there was everybody around me, I couldn't hear anything that was being said. What one result I did gather, though, was someone saying that Arsenal should become, no disrespect to, and I quote this, no disrespect to Sunderland, but Arsenal should be coming to places like the Stadium of Light and beating Sunderland. Now, to a degree, yes, that is true, but at the same time, for me, as a Sunderland fan, the Stadium of Light has not been a fortress for anywhere near long enough to the point that it should have been. And regardless of if we're in the Championship, be a fortress next season to try and come back up. If we're in the Premier League, then I want the Stadium of Light next season to be a place where teams fear coming to. Not looking forward to it, I want them to fear coming to the Stadium of Light. I want to see us give teams a go. If we do stay in the Premier League, again, I want to see us give the big teams a good run for their money next season and beat the winnable sides. I'm sick to death as well of starting slow every season. Anyway though, but like I said, Arsenal's passing was slow, lethargic, they didn't offer anything. And one thing I will quickly mention about Arsenal is that they were talking about, not winning Premier League titles and so on. To be fair, right, Arsenal have got a problem that for me is symbolic of modern football these days. Too many people view clubs as businesses, and that's not the way it should go. Your main source of income is the supporters. They, more than anyone else, financially keep the club going. Every club has this problem. Sunderland's had it, Newcastle's had it, Arsenal have it. So, and every club I'm don't care to mention have those problems. But with this season, one big mistake Arsenal had for me, personally, was not getting a recognised goal scorer. Giroud is inconsistent. He goes through a patch of 10 games or so where he's looking good, he's scoring goals regularly, and then he goes through a patch where he doesn't score very much. Now, for me, if you want to win the league, to me, Giroud isn't good enough to win you the Premier League on his own. Maybe to get top 4, I don't know. But if you look at like Ozil, Sanchez, Walcott, Oxlade-Chamberlain, etc., just many others, Ramsey as well. If you had a Karim Benzema on the end of the chances that those players will give you, then you're going to win games more than anything else. So they should have brought in a world-class striker to make a statement of intent saying they will win the league, or at least put a serious challenge in for it, especially considering the teams that are Tottenham and Leicester above them. No disrespect to either side, because I personally want Tottenham to win it. Although we could go, I don't mind if Leicester win the league as long as the title race goes to the final day. But nevertheless, for Sunderland though, I think certainly back to Sunderland, I think we deserved the point today, thoroughly deserved it, had chances in the second half to win it. But Arsenal had their own share of spells of possession and chances, but against possession doesn't mean anything. Hopefully Arsenal do us a favour next week and beat Norwich, but we'll have to wait and see. And I love you and leave you guys there. Very good point. We're out of the bottom 3. Please to God that we stay out of it. I'll see you later.